Alright, y'all. Getting ready to camp out tonight. You can see the Warbonnet Blackbird there. And I'm fixing to put up my Edwell Outfitters 10x10. And I thought I'd show you my tent, or my tarp line kit. It's in this little bag. First off, you can see there's 4 Night Eyes carabiners here, just the little ones. And I'll show you what those are for later. But inside this kit, I've got 4 of these sections of line, and those are for the 4 corners on my tarp. I don't remember exactly what they are as far as length, but they are all the exact same. They are somewhat reflective. They're similar to Night Eyes cord, but they're a little less. Night Eyes cord I find kinks up a little bit because the ribbons of reflective material are a little bit too big in there. These are just enough reflective material to show up at night. But those are my 4 equal lines. My ridge line, which has got a couple different devices on it, I'll show you later. And 4 equal lengths of shot cord with loops on the ends. And those are not for this tarp. I can use them with this tarp depending on the configuration. Should I decide to set this up as a little tent, I could use those. But those are more for the pullouts on my DIY tarp. And the carabiners are used to attach these to the tarp. Also have 2 stakes. I'm actually going to add more. I've got more of these, I just haven't put them in here yet. But 2 of them, I always carry at least 2 for the guy out points on my hammock to keep it guyed out, so I've got plenty of room up in there. And these are basically MSR groundhog stakes, but they're from DIYgearsupply.com, and if I remember correctly, they're $1 or something a piece. Don't quote me. But they're basically the exact same thing. They're triangle shaped. Little red piece of cord. You can pick your color. I picked green because it happens to be my favorite color. But that is my basic line kit. This is my ridge line. It's got these little things is basically so you can slip it through the loops on your tarp, and creates a quick toggle to hold your tarp out. This is called, these little guys, this one's called a Dutch fly, because it looks like a little fly, but it's basically it takes the place of a figure 9, Night Eyes figure 9, a lot smaller, a lot less weight. And this is a little Dutch clip, which basically goes around the tree and clips back onto the line. If you're curious, this is basically a piece of plastic that sewing line was, a leather sewing line was wrapped around. I mean, bundle of pine twigs, the rest of my kindling. Flint and steel kit. This is the old school flint and steel kit, otherwise known as a Strikolite, as they used to call it back in the olden days. Of course, back in the olden days they didn't use char cloth, they used some kind of natural tinder, like tender fungus or something similar. This is a steel striker I made myself with a little bit of help from the professor out of a garage door spring. He has a forge we did in the Western Illinois meet, and that's where I made this at. It's a great striker. It throws really good sparks. And now I've got some hemp twine. I probably should be using something like the inner bark of a black locust, but right now I'm just going to use this. This works great. It's a little time consuming processing it, but if I process it beforehand, it takes up a lot of room. It takes up less room this way, as string than it does in a big bundle, tinder bundle. or bird's nest, as some people call it. This is one of my proven and favorite ways of starting a fire. Several reasons. Anybody can start a fire with a match, a lighter, a ferro rod, some cotton balls, or some, man-made tinder. Of course, this is man-made too, but it's also a natural fiber. But it takes a little bit more finesse. It's not a real skillful thing. Pretty much, I mean, you can come out here and try it a few times, but it's a little more finesse goes into it, and it's a more rewarding way of starting a fire. I mean, I could come out here and put some kind of tinder cube or whatever down and light it with a lighter, and I'm good to go. And I would probably do that if this was middle of winter and I absolutely had to have a fire going in order to stay warm or get dry or whatever. But seeing as it's about 80 degrees out right now, where I'm dry, I don't need to rush. I can do it this way and be okay about it. Now, when I do this, most of my twigs, the thin sides facing up, and so what I'll do is I'll get the coal going in here and I'll stick it up in here and I'll hold the bundle like that and blow in it and get it going that way. That way, once the fire starts, it's already starting to work on these twigs. And these are pine twigs, dead dry pine twigs, and they'll take off very fast. They're held together by a piece of jute twine. I always bring about couple 3-foot sections of that, and I just keep them on the outside of my pack. And there's a pine tree up there that got caught in a fire. One of the fields got caught on fire and burnt the tree, so then the tree died. And so I go over and I take some off that tree. It's not hurting anything because it's already dead. So my ferro or my char cloth goes on top of the rock. I take my steel. Actually, this method is my absolute favorite. The only thing more rewarding than this is friction fire, and that's a lot more difficult and takes real skill to learn and master. This is not so much. The thing you have to be careful with is you're not really trying to break this rock, you're trying to skim it. And I've taught a few younger kids this, and it was actually very rewarding teaching them that and seeing the look on their face, how pleased they were with themselves that they did it themselves. I helped them get their first set going, helped them get their first flint and steel set, helped them make their own char cloth from a fire they made, and you could have just seen them kids' faces light up when that happened. So it's just a great way to do it. So you're just watching for a piece of this char cloth, which this happens to be a piece of lamp wick that I charred. That to me is the best and longest lasting char cloth material. It is a little bit harder to catch, but once it catches, it glows forever. Got it. Now I'm gonna get it inside my bundle, wrap it up, give it a little oxygen so it don't die on me, and get it stuck inside these twigs. Now, the way I judge it is I blow very lightly on it, and you want to keep it away from your face because you got moisture in your breath. The farther this away from your face, the less moisture it gets on it. And the more smoke you see, the harder you blow. So right now there's not very much smoke, so I'm blowing very gently. see them twigs are already taken off. So I can go ahead and set that down and start leaning other wood up against it. And I've got my start. Like I said, I may try to make up a bunch of these kits and give them away, because it's just, if you've never done flint and steel, it's just it's just something about it. When you get a successful fire, it just makes you feel good, like you've accomplished something. It's not, you know, anybody can go out and light a piece of, you know, Vaseline cotton ball or something like that. This is a little bit more, I don't want to say difficult, but you have to learn it. It's not quite as easy. You have to get your, you know, you have to hit your strokes right to get your spark to get it on your char cloth. And once you get that, then you have to, you know, learn to blow it into flames without putting it out. And then once you get this mastered the way I just showed you, you know, where you can get a fire every single time you try it, then you want to start working with trying to find natural tinders. Like I know around here, black locust, the inner bark of black locust tree works really well with this method of fire starting. You just have to find the right tree. So that's my fire started, and that's how I usually start my fires. Right now, I don't have any other method of starting a fire in my kit other than the cigarette lighter I carry because I'm a smoker. I'm not an expert by any means. I don't like to say that because I'm not, you know, I don't want to sound arrogant, because there's people out, there's always somebody, no matter what you're doing out there, that can do whatever you're doing better than you. But I am fairly efficient with this method of fire starting, and I want to pass it on. Basically, I want to have other people who've never done it try it and see how good it feels to get a fire going this way. And then from here, work your way up to bow drill and hand drill, and you know, all the different methods of friction fire. But this is a good starter point, and it's a good technique to know, because even if you're, you know, you get lost out in the woods, you don't have nothing but your knife and whatever rocks you can find in the creek, chances are, if you got good tinder, you can get something like this going, even if it means ripping something off your clothes to help get it going. But anyway, if you guys would like to have some kind of, like me to do some kind of giveaway, to have a flint and steel kit giveaway, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get it. There you go, fire's going good. You can see I backed it with a split piece of black locust. I came out here the other day and filmed, you can see the splits over there. Split up a bunch of black locusts with my Granster's Brook splitting maul, and took its virginity. So fire's going good. And you can see my little Granster's Brook small forest axe stuck there in the stump. And down there on the log, if I can get to the zoom in button here, that is an old Plum Victory axe head on a brand new axe handle. It's basically a boy's axe, and it's a really nice axe. I need to do a little bit more edge work on it and reprofile it a little bit, because when I got it, it was messed up. Somebody had it on a bench grinder and took the shape off the edge, and you know, it was all messed up. So I put all that back together. Right now it's a workable axe, but it could be improved a little bit, so I'm going to do that. I made a sheath for it, but it's not where you can see it right now. I don't know if I can get it up right now. So that's what I got with me in my bag, and my kit's right there on the table I made. And I'm just sitting here relaxing. You can see that my fire is a little bit out from the tarp. It's a small fire. It's not a very big one. I don't need a big one. I definitely don't need any heat because it's about 80 degrees right now. We're in the high 70s. I'm not cooking anything. It's not dark yet, so I don't need light or anything like that. It's just something about a fire. It's just very relaxing. And I haven't done this since the Boundary Waters, which about a month maybe, not quite a month. Anyway, I've been sitting here contemplating a few things. I'm laying in my Blackbird. It's good to get in the old girl again. Haven't used my Blackbird in quite a while, but alright everybody. Down here in the woods, it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and you can see I've got a nice, fairly good sized fire going. It's more show than go, actually. I mean, alright y'all, sitting here working on my woods journal and just relaxing and enjoying the noise of the woods. Crickets and all kinds of other bugs making all kinds of noise. Really hoping we get a little bit of rain. Not hoping for a downpour because I'm hung on two trees that are very close together, and my tarp is not completely taut. I think it'll shed the bulk of the rain, but I might get a little bit wet. Whenever I'm in the woods, I love to have a fire. It just really makes you feel good. There's something about fire. I think it has something to do with our primal instincts. Fire protects us. It keeps us warm, heats our food, makes things edible, and scares away the boogeyman. And anyway, thought I'd do a little update. The sirens have been going off. I thought I'd hear the coyotes, because most times when a siren goes off around here, whether it be tornado siren or an ambulance on the highway, chances are the coyotes will sound off, and I haven't heard them. Several times I've been out, I haven't heard them. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna finish writing my journal. Maybe smoke me a cigarette, get me a drink, and call her a night. But as long as nothing else interesting happens, I'll get back with you in the morning. Alright, what do you do when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep? You chop wood. I got more than enough light, so it's not really a safety risk. I'm being very careful and all that kind of good stuff. But it has told me, just this little bit of chopping I've done to get my fire back, has told me that this axe here, my Plum Victory that I redid, put a new handle on it. It's a boy's axe. A little over 2 feet tall. Beautiful axe in my opinion, if I don't say so myself. Needs a little bit more reprofiling of the edge. It's quite thick still, and it doesn't like to do chopping, or, I mean, if you watch this, it doesn't like to even stick in wood. There you go. Now watch this Gransford Brook Small Forest Axe, which is sharp enough to neuter a gnat. First time, right off the bat.